Now it's time for my Jay Feely story, the 40-yard dash story. It all started in 2005 on a show called Cold Pizza on ESPN, when I began to voice, if not scream, my biggest problem with the sport of football: field goals. I despise field goal kicking. I don't know how it ever became part of football, the sport I love. Wait a second. You're telling me that gifted warriors battle it out for 59 minutes and 59 seconds, and all of a sudden, this little former soccer player trots onto the field, a little man who could not play any position in the sport of football, let alone even make the team at any position as a backup, and suddenly he is empowered to win or lose the game by kicking a ball off the ground up through gimmicky uprights, which is great entertainment for all the wrong reasons. We let this happen. We let it continue on. And again, the NFL got lucky this past weekend because all 4 games ended with a walk-off field goal that was good. You know, and I know, many times they're not good. Many times playoff games, if not Super Bowls, won or lost by a little guy who has nothing to do with football. And it's offensive to me. And it was back in 2005, to the point that it became a thing on Cold Pizza. I would just rant about it because every Sunday, some little kicker would lose a game for somebody. And Jay Feely at that point was the kicker for the New York Football Giants. And all of a sudden one morning, somebody brings a piece to me that was written in the New York Times by Jay Feely, who blasted me for saying that kickers are not athletes. Well, I guess they could be athletes. They're just not football players. And I'll give Jay this. He was known at that point as one kicker who would stick his nose in the pile. And he was known as a kicker who made some tackles occasionally, who would blow up some kick returners. He went about, what's Jay, about 5'10-ish, maybe 210. So he's built stocky, strong. I got that. But, you know how I operate. If you want a piece of me, come get it, man. So we invited Jay Feely to come to Cold Pizza, come on live TV, and let's tee it up and debate it. And we did. And we got into it hot and heavy. He hung in pretty well with me. I think he lost the debate because I don't know how you can defend this gimmick that decides football games. And again, as I've always said, I can't change the rules. So if I owned a team, I'd spend a first-round pick on a kicker because they win and lose, man. They're everything to football. They're often the most valuable player. See Adam Vinatieri, Brady Super Bowls, the Tuck Rule game, the Snow Job game. So Jay and I became sort of friendly rivals, if you will. And we invited Jay to accompany our show down to Orlando, Disney World, for ESPN the weekend after that football season. I think it was must have been the 2006 season. And we had a little skit that we did that we taped to play on Cold Pizza where we both kicked field goals. But I never played soccer. I don't know how to kick field goals except straight on. So I did old school Lou the Toe Groza, if you go back that far. Straight on toe kicking. And obviously Jay's with the instep with the soccer style swing. And we went back and forth. I kicked a couple of line drives that barely made it over the crossbar. Jay would just launch with his instep, these massive 50-yard kicks. It was very good. And yet Jay missed some big ones himself because they all do. So we start messing around with the football and we're competing and we start throwing passes and running pass routes for each other. I threw to Jay and he threw to me, just to demonstrate my athletic ability versus his. And he's athletic, and he had told me he's a scratch golfer, and I later learned he is at least that, if not better. And one thing led to another thing, and all of a sudden we decided to race. Now, at that point, well, at every point of our lives, I'm about 25 years older than Jay, but I'm in very good shape, still run a lot, and I was running a lot then, and only on Sundays would I just gut check it and run fast, but I'm running distance fast as opposed to sprint fast. So we decide to race 40 yards, something I've never done in my life, but I'm pretty fast, reasonably fast, and I'm thinking I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show him I'm game for this. I'm going to allow him this to probably humiliate me, because I'm going to run in my running shoes. I think I was in Reeboks. They're my favorite running shoes. I'm talking about distance running. And the bottoms of running shoes are not made for traction, as you probably know. And all of a sudden, Jay surprised me as we start to line up after we marked off 40 yards on a vacant soccer field at Disney World, at the Wide World of Sports Complex. And Jay says, would you mind if I ran barefooted? I'd never heard of anybody sprinting barefooted, so I thought, I don't mind. Why didn't I think of that? Because a couple of ex-cowboys who are friends of mine told me later, you lost the race at that moment because running barefoot in grass is the way to get traction. I just never thought about it. And did Jay ever get traction out of the blocks? He shot out of the blocks like an Olympic sprinter. And of course, I'm running in place, trying to get a little traction, and he jumped me bad off the line. I pulled on him a little bit in mid-race and gained a few yards on him, but he beat me by a good 5 yards. So he waxed my butt good, and his brother was there actually officiating as sort of the timekeeper and the official overseer of the race, just to make sure in case it was a photo finish, but it wasn't even close. So Jay did wipe me out in the 40. Jay later told me that he was an all-state soccer player in the Tampa area in Florida, all-state as a wing, as a scorer, as a sprinter. And Jay told me that just that off-season, he had timed a 40-yard dash for the Giants, Tom Coughlin, and had run 4.6. 4.6. Emmitt Smith ran 4.6 at the combine, which is why he fell all the way to 17th in the first round, and Dallas stole him, the all-time leading rusher. Fast with a football under his arm, but still 4.6. Jay ran 4.6. Jay also told me that Tom Coughlin had installed him as a backup safety. So I got took, man. I got smoked. And I give it up to Jay Feely, now the kicking analyst for CBS. I give it up to him. Jay Feely is a very good ex-kicker athlete, but I'm not going to give you that all of them are great athletes. Punters, yes. I've always said keep the punting, because punters are always a little bigger and much more athletic than kickers, because punters have to catch long snaps and directional kick to coffin corners, or maybe higher or longer, whatever. You have to be very athletic to be a punter. But kicking, I just wish you had to punt every down. You know, if it's 4th and 2 at the 30, no more 47-yard field goal. Just go for it. Just keep going for it. And if you score a touchdown, God bless you. Go for 2 then. And if you want to punt from the 30 or the 40 or wherever, then your punter will punt, not your kicker. I'm sorry, Jay Feely. I'm still not there. I hope you enjoyed that video. You ready for more? Make sure you click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from the Skip Bayless Show. And don't forget to check out the full episode of the show wherever you get your podcasts by clicking the link in the description.